it's interesting too, because I've always said this, and you're one of the bands that fits under this category where, most people, if you're a power metal band from Europe, they have kind of a specific sound. You got a lot of Halloween influence in it. Brainstorm sounds more American. I've always said that because American power metal is a little darker, and you have bands that are not making albums that sound like anything like they came out of Europe, but you guys sound more American. Do you ever, I mean, I've said that. Do you ever get that? Do people tell you that? Because you have a much darker sound, like a band like Mystic Prophecy would probably be under that category from Europe. They don't sound European, right? But you have more of an American sound, and you never really fell under the other umbrella of a lot of these other power metal bands. I mean, do you hear that a lot? Is that something that you sought out to do, or it's just the way you've written your songs and what came out when you recorded them?
And yeah, it's we hear that very often, and I totally agree. I love American power metal, and of course I love European power metal, but we're not that kind of band. We never have been. So yeah. It was always for us. It was always like we are more riff driven, not speedy melody driven, so to say. Yeah.
And it's interesting you say that, because a lot of the bands from Europe that sound American are a little bit more riff driven. You're not having this crazy speed metal type of thing going on. But, and I remember the first record, the very first album, Hungry, that came out. And I noticed that right away in those first two records. And the late 90s were kind of like this time period where, power metal and heavy metal and stuff in Europe, about that 1998 time is when it was starting to really kind of make its little bit of its comeback a little bit, yes. And talk about being a part of that, because that's about the time I ended up getting into the band, and you were a part of that. What was it like coming through that? Because before, people thought the whole genre was pretty much dead, and then here come all these bands in 1997, 1998, just making these incredible records, and you were part of the beginning of that.
Yes, yeah, it felt great. It's we have been releasing demo tapes 8 years until the first album, mm-hmm. And it was always cool, but it did not get the feedback, especially from the record labels, because nobody wanted to sign a power metal band. Mm-hmm. And so we got first signed from BO Records, and a few weeks after we signed, we had the first Hammerfall album coming out.
Yeah.
So and for me that was kind of, power metal is back. Everybody loved that album, and we released our album and went on tour with the Morgana Le Fay guys, and everything seemed to start, and it was a wonderful feeling, And then all of a sudden, there had been so many great albums.
Yeah, I mean,
2 years.
Yeah, Hammerfall kind of like out of nowhere sold like 100. I think it was like 125,000 copies out of nowhere. Nobody expected that, and suddenly you had all these kids showing up to see him play, which was like insane. And I remember when that album came out, it was like it was one of the things that changed the game, and that is for me when the resurgence of heavy metal. Sorry, I couldn't get that word out. Started to happen, because then a lot of the other old school bands like your Gravediggers and Blind Guardians and Halloween, Gamma Ray, all of them, they were still around, but then they kind of also ended up getting a resurgence as a result. And then you had all these new bands, which you were definitely one of them. And that'd be an interesting tour. Morgana Le Fay, Brainstorm, and Hammerfall. Man, that would be cool, actually.
Absolutely. We had, in addition to Morgana Le Fay, we had the Solitude Eternus guys.
I remember them. Yep.
It was a phenomenal tour. It was our first tour, so it's something special from start to finish, Right. But we had two other great bands playing every night, and it was a cool experience and a big adventure.
Yeah, the one thing that for me really was always disappointing is I always thought you guys should be a lot bigger than you are. In all seriousness, like when I see Hammerfall and they come and tour the U.S., which they do every once in a while, it's kind of like I always thought of you guys as one of the bands that I've always felt deserved more attention. And do you think that may have something to do with the market that you're in over there being a lot different? Because in my opinion, I listened to your records over the last 25, 26, 27 years, and it kind of baffles me how you're not like over here touring. I know the cost of touring's gone up, but I'm saying in general. I mean, you came over here and played some shows here and there, but do you ever feel that way? Because for me, I've always said, as long as I've done my radio show and now this show, that Brainstorm was one of those bands, man, that should be bigger than what they are.
And yes, of course, we wouldn't have said no, if we would have gotten the chance. But we're still doing very good here over Europe, and maybe we sound too American for the Americans to be interesting enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or lack of exposure. I think that's kind of what it is, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, but for us, we have such a long, good running career, and
yeah,
you cannot have everything, and for us, we enjoy making music so much, and we're still welcome everywhere we come and play,
Yeah,
and we have every album in several official charts here over Europe. So the band is doing good, and we're long running, but for us, there's no reason to end this because we all enjoyed it so much.
Yeah.
So maybe we make a second career over there in your country with the next albums, who knows?
Hey everybody, Tony here from the Metal Command podcast. Again, I appreciate your support. Since 1998, I have hosted this show in one form or another, starting off in radio and now in the podcast format. Again, thanks for watching, and if you like what you see and hear on this show, by all means, please hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell to be notified anytime I do post a video, and if you see this program on any other form of social media, please give me a follow there. Again, I always appreciate your support.